Okay, so what I want to do is demonstrate what I was talking about in the Ambler here so that you could see, what I meant, see some sort of real life situation where this would work. One of the things I talked about is using rhyme to pull out ideas just out of your subconscious. That's you can think of, okay, so what's rhyme there to do? Well, originally rhyme helped us to memorize poetry because people didn't read, so it just makes it more memorable. But it does that because there's so much emotion with the ride because of things like Kiki and Bubbo, right? Because we have an association with our mouth and emotion, and so we remember that emotion. We can come back to that emotion, makes it memorable. Now we don't really need it to be memorable in that way, so that most of the time the reason you're using something like rhyme is to prime that emotion, to hit that emotion. However, because it's so emotional, we can also use it to draw things out of our subconscious, things that we've forgotten about, things that make great poetic sense. Now, whether or not your poem sticks with that is something entirely different. It doesn't really matter. That's not why I'm going to use a form. It's not why I'm going to use a rhyme structure. The reason I originally am going to start doing this is just I want ideas, and I'm going to go into my head and find some of those ideas. And so, okay, so I'm just going to take two random words. Let me share my screen here. So just because I'm like looking and my glasses are really bold today for some reason, I'm really seeing them. Usually they kind of disappear on my face to me. I'm just gonna use the word glasses. And I'm gonna put it here kind of towards the end of the line. And so I'm gonna, okay, what rhymes with that? Passes. Um, and so let's see what happens. Let's try to get from glasses to passes. So what I'm going to do in this situation, this is a heroic couplet I'm going to do. So it'll be iambic pentameter, I hope, and ending with a rhyme. And I almost never write with this one. My poems almost never end because it feels a little bit sing-songy to me. But we'll see. I don't know. Maybe it'll work. But they'll be there. Just I'm going to do this though. I'm starting in the middle of the sentence. Um, and I'm thinking about the phrase "in my cups," or "in his cups," but I'm going to say "in his glasses" instead. Now I've moved from this to this. Well, this is a cup, but this kind of glass. Uh, I- okay, so what's just happened here is I have gone in there and I found my rhyme. I found my poem. I unlocked an idea that I hadn't had. And this idea was basically how I met my wife. She came to a party and I was drunk, and I was loose. I was loose enough that I could talk to her. And I don't recommend that as a way of to meeting your partner. That's just not a good way of doing it. But it just happened to be that one night I wasn't a total idiot, and it kind of loosened me up. And so now I've did this as passes. I really wasn't making passes at her. So I think when I come into the poem, I am going to change that to a different way of saying that. I might also get away from deep inside my glasses too, because that's a. But what I did is it brought me into a memory of something that mattered, and I think it's going to make a good poem because it matters to me. And that's the power of that's how you can use rhyme to help you develop a poem, even though it's not going to stay this way. Now I've got a subject, and where 10 minutes ago I didn't really have a subject. I can also just start with a sound. Um, let's start with that glasses. Okay, so I'm just going to start with glasses, and I'm going to pull out a story here. And so, okay, so I'm going to talk about these kinds of glasses, and my glasses, they're I'm going to say horn rimmed glasses. Is that a cliche? I think that might be a cliche. Rather than horn rim, I'm going to say gold rimmed glasses on a chain. And now I flashed. My grandmother died. See, it must have been in 1995 or six. And I really knew her in the 70s. That's when I knew her. And she was an older person in the 70s, about my age now, I guess. And she had these glasses with that she kept on a chain so she wouldn't lose them. And there were the kind of thing that older people would wear back then. I don't know if older people wear. Do they still wear glasses on a chain? I certainly don't. And I'm an older person now. But it was kind of a hallmark of older people. And they'd always kind of hang there. So I'm brought back to this idea of this person. So this person, I'm making this a woman. What is she doing? Um, it swung as she leaned over a baby carriage. Oh, I'm starting to pull out a story here, right? Suddenly I've got this interesting person. She's looking inside a baby carriage. And so I'm starting to, I'm building. I'm just using that one sound to help me build out. And it's pure, as I said in the Ambler, it's pure intellectual gameplay at this point, right? It always should be. I'm just kind of having fun with it. I'm just it's just kind of building up, and I'm not tense. I'm not worried. I don't think this is going to go anywhere. I'm just allowing it to do whatever it is going to do. It's one of the baby carriage. Oh, so now we've got this interaction between we've got the two characters. We've got tension, right, that we're building. Um, oh, I put it into past tense or present tense. It should be in past tense. I reached up to grasp them. She said, "What did she say to a child?" Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to figure out what is the major tension of the story. Um, Her name's going to be Audrey because that was my grandmother's name. Audrey's niece said, "Oh, I spelled niece. Look at that." Please sleep. Okay, that's interesting. I'm not sure what's going on now, but because I started just with the word glasses, I was able to build out and build out and build out. I started with the sound. I started with a single word, and I built out of it. The word was that ass sound, right? And so, as in glasses or crasses, or sorry, or crass, or blast, even anything like that. I'm letting that control what I'm doing, and I'm letting it pull stuff from my subconscious. I almost had her daughter say that, but then I realized if this is based on my grandmother, her daughter is my mom, and it's like too much for me to go into in front of a group of people looking at my video. Okay, so um, work on that. Build it. See if you can build something in either one of these modes, either using that rhyme the way I've used it. Don't let the rhyme control you. You use the rhyme to help bring out some ideas, right? Use it as a tool as opposed to a rule. And the same thing here. Let this stuff kind of come out of you, flow out of you. When you got that, come and see me during my office hours, and let's take a look at what you got. I'm happy to help you with it and see if we can develop a story, maybe publish it, maybe you don't want to publish it. Either way is fine. Um, all right. I will see you soon. Figure out how to stop the video again. Okay. I'll see you soon.